Hey there, my friends. Today is going to be kind of an exciting day. I have the day off, and so I invited my mom to come with me to the Book Barn in Niantic, Connecticut, which is, I don't know if it's officially one of the largest used bookstores like ever. I know it's the largest used bookstore in the state of Connecticut. But anyway, it has three separate locations. So the original location is in obviously like an old converted barn location. There's a building and then a bunch of outbuildings with used books housed in them. And then they grew so big that they had to open a satellite location up the street in like a small storefront where they do like history and geography and those kinds of books. And then they opened a second satellite location up the street in the other direction. And that one has like the genre used books. So like romance, mystery, science fiction, fantasy. So we are gonna go. I've got four bags of books that I would like to give to them. And then we're going to check and see what they've got. And I will take some footage along the way and then share most likely, a small book haul with you when we get back. So, yay! It's used bookstore day. So exciting. Okay, bye. Hello, my friends. I have forgotten to film this book haul from my trip to the book barn for a couple of days. So it's a couple days later. Oh my gosh. But anyway, I did want to share what I got from the used bookstore so that I could wrap up this video. I ended up with a small stack of books, but if you remember, there were three different locations for the book barn. So I did get at least one book in each location. So I feel like it was a multi-bookstore trip, even though technically we were only at one altogether. Ended up getting a copy of The Salt Path by Rainer Wynn. I heard someone talking about this one and it just sounded so interesting. And sort of so different from what I normally read. And I'm really trying to sort of like expand my reading a little bit. So this one is about a like aging couple who find out that the husband is terminally ill. And so they decide to finish out his time by walking the West Coast Path, which is 630 miles along the coastline of England. So I just think like it's probably gonna make me cry a lot, but it sounds so interesting and like, you know, life. So I'm excited to read that one. I also have a confession that I have never actually read a book by Frederick Bachman. So I saw this copy of Brit Marie Was Here and thought this might be a good way to sort of ease into his work. It says it's an irresistible novel about a woman who is hard to like but easy to love. she has to learn to let her guard down and connect with her small town people. And I feel like this one's probably also going to be sad, but also heartwarming. So, like I said, I'm excited to sort of ease into Frederick Bachman's books are so famous and so well acclaimed. It just intimidates the crap out of me, and I very much struggle sometimes with being so emotionally devastated by certain types of books that I get like a wicked hangover. And I know his books are going to end up doing that to me. So we're going to ease in. We're going to ease in. The next bookstore, the next part of the book barn that we went to was the satellite location that had specifically sort of like the nonfiction, the history, the geography, that type of book, because my mom was really looking for like travel books, because we're going on a big trip later this year, so we're both excited. But I was walking around and I found this book, Thinking in Pictures, My Life with Autism by Temple Grandin. And I've been interested to learn more about Temple Grandin, because I think it's really, really important that she was sort of like one of the groundbreaking individuals that helped the average person start to understand what autism is. And I mean, we know so much more now, but like it had to start somewhere. I think getting to hear her talk about her experience is going to be very, very interesting. So last, the other satellite location for the book barn that we went to, is the one that had sort of what they consider their genre fiction sections. So romance, mystery, science fiction, fantasy, those books that fall distinctly into those categories. And I ended up picking up 3 books. I had not intended to pick up that many, but I did. And that was after I put a couple back because everything looked good, but these are the ones I ended up coming home with. So the first one is The Charmed Library by Jennifer Mormon. And this one is sort of like, they say, with her signature blend of magical and heartfelt storytelling, she returns with a love letter to libraries, favorite childhood stories, and readers who have fallen for fictional heroes. So it's kind of like a cozy historical fantasy. And it's got, I mean, it's Enchanted Libraries. How can you go wrong? So I'm excited for that one. I read the back and was like, yeah, you have to come home with me. And then I picked up this hardcover that was in really great condition, called A Resistance of Witches by Morgan Ryan. And this one is set in World War II, and a lone witch must journey across Europe to find a book of unspeakable power before it lands in Nazi hands. I'll be honest that I tend to shy away from World War II fiction a lot because I just get, again, so emotionally devastated thinking about the horrors that took place. I very much struggle with like any war type setting. Dystopian fiction's a little bit different for me because it's like so extreme that I sort of forget a lot that it could be something that really happened. But when you get into straight historical fiction set in a time when there was a major war, I get like, I make too deep an emotional connection to it almost, and it rips me apart. And again, I end up suffering sort of like book hangovers after those. So I have to space them out. I have to pace myself. I can't do a lot of it because it just gets too overwhelming. But when you add in like a magical component, that again sort of eases things for me, so it's not quite so devastating. So this one sounded interesting because again, like World War II is such a great historical fiction setting because there is so much emotion that can be explored there. And then add in the magical component of like the grimoire and witches, and it's a little easier for me to dive into. So I'm excited to check that one out. And then the last one I've been wanting to read for a while, and I saw the paperback and was like, it's a sign. It's time to read this one. So it's If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. And this one is a dark academia. It's really, really famous. And it's one that, like I said, I've been dying to read. So now I have a paperback copy in pretty great condition that I can add to my physical TBR. And hopefully I can read this one in the next couple of months. So again, I had at the beginning of this year put myself sort of a challenge that if I picked up books and added them to my physical TBR, I needed to read them within a month or two. 6 new books is a little much to add all immediately to my brand new, like, you know, next month or the month after TBR. I'll probably space these out a little bit, but I do want to read them hopefully before the summer. They're all books that I'm interested in, and so we will just make it a priority to read those. I also have the opportunity right now to visit more independent bookstores, and I want to take advantage of that while I can. So there might be some more book hauls in the near future, but then we will ease back from that again so that we're not overloading our TBR and not getting to it. That's not the goal this year. But I hope you enjoyed coming with me to the Book Barn. It is located in Niantic, Connecticut, which is my home state. Don't forget, if you want to see more videos like this in the future, subscribe to my channel. You'll get notified when I put up new videos, and we'll get to talk about more bookish things in the future. Love you guys. Bye.